The Battlefield 2042 beta is right around the corner, but that still of course means that if you want to play Battlefield, you're probably going to be on one of the older games, whether it's Battlefield 3, 4, Hardline, 1 or 5. Of course, you could still be playing some of the older games, but I think they hold more of a niche audience, and it's quite difficult to play them. In this video, I'm going to take a look at all of the games that are populated at the minute on PC. Most of them are still populated as well on console. And then I'm going to take a look at which ones are probably the best to play. As you know, as a game gets older and as certain things change, it can be very difficult to find an enjoyable server. On top of that, some things have really changed in the last couple of months, and there are a few stats in here that will probably surprise many of you watching. So let's start out with Battlefield 3. At the minute, this has got around 1,000 players on PC. Not very much, if I'm honest, and most of them are experienced players as well. It's difficult to play anything other than Metro and Noshar Canals, and although they are great maps and this is a superb game, it is very difficult to find a good experience. I myself tried to jump on and play some close quarters a couple of months back. I've got some footage of that in the background. It took so long to find a server that was populated, and it's amazing fun. It just really takes the fun out of it when you're spending half an hour trying to get onto a server and then you end up getting banned once you go on a 5-kill streak. I'm sure some people are still enjoying this on console, but again I think it's a similar situation. Very difficult to find a good game. Maybe it's fun for an evening, but if you're looking to get into a game properly, Battlefield 3, I can't believe I'm saying this, it might not be the one for you. Battlefield 4, the game that came shortly after Battlefield 3, and is also a very old game. When did it come out? 2013, so rolling up on 9 years old now. It is in a lot healthier condition. The Steam charts peak around 12,000 players this month, but averaged around 5,000 to 6,000. That's normal for Battlefield 4. It's been hitting those numbers for quite a long time. It did see a big spike though in the summer. When Battlefield 2042 was revealed, people were looking to experience what is arguably the closest thing to that slightly futuristic all-out war setting that 2042 is aiming to bring. We also had the additional Twitch Prime players getting the game for free in June this year. That added to the fun. If I'm honest, Battlefield 4 is in quite a healthy position. Jump on and enjoy it. Loads of servers out there. I think you can pretty much play all the DLC on Conquest. Of course, you're not going to be playing Chain Link and Obliteration and these more niche modes that have never really been that popular, despite some of them being very fun. The thing with Battlefield 4 as well is you can pick up a key for the base game, the vanilla part of the game, really cheaply. If you want some of the DLC, they often give it away for free on Origin. But for me, the vanilla game is all you really need if you're looking to get started and you've never played it. Definitely a game you should try and experience before 2042 releases. Next up, we had Battlefield Hardline, which released again shortly after BF4. Whilst I've not really got anything against Hardline, finding a game is pretty much impossible right now unless you enjoy one of two maps. I think it's usually Dust Bowl and Downtown that are running. It's a bit of a wasteland. Again, a game that would probably be very fun, I think, if it was released as a DLC for BF4. Being a standalone game really hurt it, especially as BF4 was kind of getting into its stride right as they dropped Hardline. A fun game though. I wouldn't suggest buying it because you probably won't be able to find a game, but if you're lucky enough to find one, it is quite good. Now on to the two most recent games in the franchise, Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. Let's start with BF1 and reference the Steam charts again. We can see that BF1 has hit about a 40,000 player peak over the summer, which is quite a lot, but averages around 10,000. It's a little more than Battlefield 4, and it's certainly easy to find a game online, especially on PC, but I would say that on BF1 there are quite a few cheaters. Maybe that's just me that's found that, but in BF1 on PC there are quite a few cheaters. And it's one of those games where if you're like me and you've played it a bunch, it's not the sort of game you want to go back and play. It doesn't have that same draw that Battlefield 4 has, for me at least. On console though, I've heard from a few players that are still playing it on console. It's really healthy, it's great fun, you don't have the cheater problem as much, and it's just one of those games that you can really jump on and enjoy with some friends one evening. I'd also say it's a beginner friendly game, so if you're watching this video and you've never really played any Battlefield games, I'd say that Battlefield 1 is probably the one to start with, especially on PC as well. It's definitely a beginner friendly game, quite easy to get into, and certainly there are enough active players to support it. Now on to something that really surprised me. It wasn't when I was researching for this video that I found this out. I did hear it on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. But Battlefield 5 has never really been a game that I enjoyed, but the player numbers have surprised me. When the Pacific dropped, back in 2019 it must have been, I thought DICE were turning a corner with the game. They'd released some really good DLC. The player numbers had jumped. I thought it was going to be the start of something amazing. Unfortunately, the support got cut and the game kind of went straight off a cliff. Player numbers really took a dive. A lot of people went back to BF4, and then we saw that exodus of major Battlefield creators going over to Call of Duty, something that hasn't really happened before in the past. Now what we've seen though with Battlefield 5 is a peak player number in the last 30 days of nearly 90,000. It's seen a massive resurgence. Again, this was probably fueled by some Amazon Prime free-to-play deals and then the Steam sales as well, but even so, people are playing the game. People don't tend to play games that are really, really broken and bad. Maybe for a little bit while it's fashionable. But Battlefield 5's been out for a while now, and with it being free for a while, getting the player numbers up, now people potentially re-downloading it, getting back and enjoying some of the best maps. I can see it being something of almost a new game for a lot of people. Many people chose not to play it when it released because of all the controversy that followed it. Maybe they're jumping in now and enjoying it for the first time. I'd say that Battlefield 5, and this goes against a lot of what I've said in the past as I didn't really like the game, but it could be the perfect time to play Battlefield 5. You've got a couple of months before Battlefield 2042 launches. Play BF5, get reintegrated into the Battlefield franchise, enjoy everything it has to offer, especially if you've got the game for free. What have you got to lose? And then you can jump onto Battlefield 2042 and forget all about Battlefield 5 if you want to. Probably the best time to play it, but that's really up to you. Is it the sort of game you want to play? Just to summarise this video, which games do I suggest you go back and play? Of course, Battlefield 4. It's been strong for nearly a decade. It will be probably up until 2042 launches. If 2042 is good, Battlefield 4 player numbers will drop. If 2042 flops, I hope it doesn't, but if it does, BF4 will still hold around 5 to 10k players on PC, I think, pretty consistently. So it's always a game there to go back and play, and considering the game is so cheap, it's a no-brainer really. Battlefield 1, probably best if you're on console. I wouldn't really suggest it on PC, but again, enough players to enjoy it. And Battlefield 5, will it get 100k peak players before 2042 releases? It might do. It's on a bit of a roll at the minute, so jump on that hype train while you can. Hardline and BF3, unfortunately, not really something you can enjoy at the minute. So what do you think? Have I missed anything out here? Are there any other factors that I could have maybe included? And for console players out there, as I'm not a console player, are one of these games clearly the go-to game at the minute for Battlefield fans? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.